Hello and welcome to the Thursday the 3rd of August update of Celtic news, transfer rumours, gossip and a little speculation for the next few days in the lead up to the start of the Scottish season for us at 12:30 on Saturday against Ross County in a game live on Sky Sports. No definite transfer incomings or outgoings currently. Continuing speculation regarding Dominik Livakovic, the goalkeeper from Dinamo Zagreb, was a couple of weeks ago, it appeared, certain to be getting transferred to Fenerbahce in Turkey. However, negotiations between the two clubs fell through, even though it would appear the agent for Livakovic had agreed personal terms for the transfer to Fenerbahce. A couple of clubs in the mid-table area in the Spanish La Liga said to be interested, and Celtic's interest certainly has been recognised on Transfer Market and various different British and European transfer websites. However, no definite movements with regards to Livakovic coming to Celtic. One interesting name that has recently come forward as a potential transfer to Celtic is the Zambian player currently playing for Red Star Belgrade, Kings Kangwa. From my research, an attacking midfielder, scored 8 goals in 20 games last season for Red Star Belgrade. Also is more of an attacking midfield role with the ability to pass through the defence and key passes. Also, as well as his 8 goals for Red Star Belgrade last season, managed to set up a number of goals for teammates. The current speculation is that he would be available for around about €3 million. Interesting potential signing. Bring forward and yet another midfield option. However, the feeling is he can play in that hole between midfield and attack, supporting O or Kyogo Furuhashi, and may well be an interesting option coming off the bench, or possibly in Europe where we're looking for more tightness in midfield, but with his ability to break forward to support the main striker. A number of Celtic players who do appear to be surplus to requirements currently: Ismail Osoro, Albian Yeti and James McCarthy. McCarthy has hardly played for Celtic since his signing early in Ange Postecoglou's term 2 years ago. And Soro and Ayeti both spent the great majority of last season out on loan. There appears to be no takers for Albian Ayeti. His loan deal to Sturm Graz was fairly unsuccessful, and Sturm Graz have not followed up with a permanent transfer. Ismail Osoro, there is current speculation that Hapoel Beersheva and Beitar Jerusalem in Israel are both interested in signing Ismail Osoro to go back to Israel. There was quite a lot of interest from English Premier League clubs for Riho Hatate and Matt O'Reilly, with a number of the sort of middle term middles table teams in the English Premier League, and also Ange Postecoglou reportedly looking to bring Rio Hatate down to play for Tottenham Hotspur. Neither of these options appears to have been taken up. Similarly, the interest from Saudi Arabia would appear to have diminished, possibly in relation to both Fabinho and Henderson from Liverpool being transferred to Saudi Arabian Premier League clubs. And so it would appear that Rio Hatate and Matt O'Reilly are here to stay as two of our key midfielders. Celtic are currently blessed in midfield with quite a number of options in central midfield, with Thiago Holmes and Kwon backing up McGregor, Hatate and O'Reilly, with David Turnbull, perennial substitute last season, coming off the bench. Turnbull always a good option coming off the bench, with his ability to make that key decisive pass and his ability to shoot for distance. One of few players in the Celtic side who is keen to take that shot from distance, and also Turnbull, a useful option with direct free kicks within distance of the goal. Moving on to just a few thoughts regarding potential key players for Celtic over this next season, other than the usual key players such as McGregor, Hatate, Cameron Carter-Vickers and Kyogo Furuhashi. I would expect over the course of this season that O will see more time playing central as a striker, and I do wonder whether at times Brendan Rodgers may use O as more of a target man centre forward, bringing in the Kyogo Furuhashi playing is more within the hole, kind of similar to when Chris Sutton and John Hartson played as target man under Martin O'Neill, with Henrik Larsson, one of Celtic's greatest ever players, playing in the hole more as an inside forward, attacking forward role, which certainly was very successful for Martin O'Neill in winning titles and cups and our run to the Europa League final, which we sadly lost to Porto, who the next season went on, of course, to win the Champions League. Another interesting player I wonder who may well come through this next season is Burnaby. Burnaby had a very disappointing first season, although to be expected for a young man coming from Argentina at a young age. Must be difficult for players coming from abroad, mixing in with Scottish players, mixing in with a squad which had no other Argentinian players or Spanish speaking players. A little bit different from how there were a number of Japanese players all signing for Celtic over the previous 2 or 3 transfer windows under Ange Postecoglou, and now the 3 South Korean players. Obviously always easier to fit into a new club if you've got a person who you've known from before, also easier in the dressing room to fit in, and also easier to fit in outside of club time, learning how to live in Glasgow and so on. So Burnaby, I do wonder whether he may increasingly play instead of or alternating with Greg Taylor at left back. Also Burnaby, interestingly, I think could push forward into left-sided midfield if we were acquiring that option. His 2 goals in pre-season show that he does actually have a good eye for goal, and with the ability to be more of a wing back or left midfielder rather than left back, and so does give Brendan Rodgers a number of options. I think over the course of this season we may well see Celtic being a little bit more flexible than we were under Ange Postecoglou. Ange very much had his idea of how to play football, the formation which we were to use, this constant pressure on the opposition to press the defensive team of the opposition, to slow down their distribution from defence into midfield and then to attack. And for that, the keys were certainly Kyogo and Daisen Maeda, who had tremendous energy for pressurising the opposition defence in midfield, which bore great fruit on a couple of occasions, such as in our victory over Rangers 4-0 last season. Where Celtic also do have a number of options, possibly some might say too many options, is in our wide attacking roles with Abada, Haksabanovic, Tilio, Daisen Maeda and also Yang. We may well see them playing more as a sort of inside forward rather than a true winger role, tucking in when the ball is on the opposite side, coming in to support Kyogo or O in the centre, which in previous years under Brendan Rodgers certainly worked well with Scott Sinclair and James Forrest, scoring quite a number of goals in Rodgers' 2 seasons previously with Celtic. Not sure what James Forrest's role will be with Celtic this season. He remains in the first team squad. He may well be more of a player we see from time to time, possibly in the Viaplay Cup, possibly coming off the bench to rest players such as Abada, Maeda and so on, when there's a European fixture following the next midweek. And it would certainly be very good if James kept up his record of scoring every season for Celtic. So just to finish off the Thursday the 3rd of August update, 3 days to go until Flag Day and the start of the 23-24 Scottish Premier League season. Just wanted to say that, and some may find this a little bit controversial, but having supported Celtic since 1972, so for 51 years, I do think it's important for all Celtic fans, all Celtic supporters to support the club. There should be nothing more important than supporting Celtic as a Celtic supporter. I had the good fortune of, on holidays in Glasgow, going out for walks, and it just so happened that we were going for a walk and we happened upon a friendly match between Celtic and Queen's Park at Lesser Hampden. In that Celtic team there were young up and coming players just starting to push towards first team football, such as Kenny Dalglish, Danny McGrain, George Connolly, who were playing in that friendly match against Queen's Park. I was greatly taken by Celtic's green and white hoops, and so became a Celtic fan at that time, getting a wonderful new Celtic strip for my birthday, aged 5, and from that day onwards I have been a Celtic supporter through thick and through thin. Through thick and thin, through good days and bad days, through the end of the 9 Rose seasons under Jock Stein, the transition from Billy McNeill as captain, then later Billy McNeill as the Celtic manager, moving through the years which were much more fallow under Tommy Burns, a great Celtic manager, but had the misfortune of being up against a very heavily funded Rangers side with a number of very successful managers such as Souness and Advocat, later Walter Smith, Alex McLeish, and so on. And then obviously the resurrection under Wim Jansen, moving through to current times with Rodgers, and then the last couple of years under Ange Postecoglou. However, as I said, I do think it's very important as Celtic supporters we do support Celtic and support the players, and so it was rather disappointing that at James Forrest's testimonial match a couple of nights ago against Athletic Bilbao there were some empty sections, apparently due to dissatisfaction with Brendan Rodgers having been reappointed as Celtic manager. However, Rodgers was a very successful manager for Celtic before, claiming all 7 trophies out of 7 in his previous spell, and also it's arguable that the 2 other trophies which he had moved Celtic well on the way to success in were won by Neil Lennon, and so Rodgers deserved his chance back with Celtic, and I wish him the greatest of success, and I think that the unhappy days surrounding Brendan Rodgers leaving Celtic partway through the season to go to Leicester should be forgiven and forgotten, and Celtic should move on, and all us supporters should allow Rodgers, the Celtic board and the Celtic players to push forward further and further to success, and hope for this season have a very successful Scottish campaign, but also, possibly more importantly, have a very strong campaign in Europe. So just finishing off today's YouTube Celtic summary. Many thanks for listening, and again, if you are enjoying the output, like and subscribe, and any comments, feel free to add those, and I will review them and reply, respond, and discuss any issues that you would wish discussed. So counting down the days to the start of the season in 3 days' time. Goodbye from myself.